We are the Cora Horse. We're not the heroes of this story yet, but we have a non-zero chance. Welcome to Hellfire Agency Live. Let's do this. Everybody come into the Church of Cora Horse / Hellfire Agency. Let's get weird.
From empty pews to reasoned thought, we'll defend our pale blue dot. If the danger's great, but the odds are small, we Cora Horse will heed the call. True saviors, but not from sin. We have no hope but what's within. We were not born to be heroes. Our chances small, but never zero. Non-zero chance. Take to the sky against all odds. We will fly. Count us down. Our last advance. This is our non-zero chance. Fueled by hope, reach for the stars. Prometheus fire within our hearts. Though we may be the unlikely crew, in one another our trust renews. Non-zero chance. Take to the sky against all odds. We will fly. Count us down. Our last advance. This is our non-zero
I can't tell you how many times somebody tells me, so you have a church for atheists. What do? Get together and not sing hymns? Sort of. We get together and listen to them. Eventually we'll sing hymns. But for now, right? Fire. Right? Man, look at this. This is like amazing. Alice, thanks for all that you guys are doing. I hope you're saying that your wife just got back from conducting search and rescue, not from being rescued. I mean, I'm glad if she is being rescued, that she has been rescued, if she has been. But yeah, our friend Megan Connor's out there doing cleanup there in Kerr County. It's a nightmare. They have a donation page set up for the community. It's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of volunteers. It's going to take a lot of time to get things cleaned up out there. Disasters everywhere, man. I mean, you believe in Jesus. Why is he hurting people? Jesus, relax. You know what I'm saying? Everybody everywhere. Let's get a little amen coast to coast here. Let's get everybody chime in and say, Jesus, relax. All right, let me show you the thing. I was going to be more prepared for this, but life, you know how it is. Wednesday service is always a little bit lax and a little bit fun, a little bit, shoot from the hip. But I did want to show you guys something. And by the way, if you didn't see it, there is a link in the comments, also in the description of the video. Those people who are joining in, if you want to hop into the stream with me, and I can chat at you, we can talk. I would love to get to know what's going on, get to know you guys a little bit better. You guys get into the whole get into the whole game. Who's HEB? Is that Bush? I don't know who that is. But okay, cool. So I want to tell you guys about this rock. I think this is an artist rendering. I'm pretty sure there's no actual rendering of this rock as of yet. It's but this is representative of something. So in December 2024, two major events happened that everybody should know about. One is that I started a church for atheists, the Church of Korihor. The other is that NASA discovered that this rock may be on its way to kill us. It's a non-zero chance. Now, granted, one of these bits of news is bigger than the other one, but this asteroid thing, this is big too. So what's important about the asteroid? Oh, that's interesting. What's important about this is that there's a keyhole that it's going to have to thread somewhere between now and December 22nd, 2032. That if it threads that certain keyhole, there is a non-zero chance that it will strike either our moon, that's now currently rated at 4%, or that it will strike Earth, which is now 3%. And I think you guys can agree with to go from a non-zero chance to it's actually only about 3% chance that this rock will hit Earth. That's significantly improved news. That's because there's this system that NASA has. It's called NEO Surveyor, or NEO, Near Earth Object Surveyor, which is working with an office that's called the Planetary Defense Coordination Office. You may have known that if you've seen the Netflix movie Don't Look Up. Basically, the network that's supposed to be coordinating, pushing off the comet in that case instead of an asteroid. That office, it actually exists. That's a real life thing. It's not very well funded, but it's funded well enough that they can track bodies near the Earth, and this is one of them. It is called 2024 YR4. Very, very, very cleverly named. I'm not sure how long it's going to be before it gets a name like Apophis, but this is different from Apophis. Sorry, when I get texts from the wife, I answer them because I got chewed out. All right. Now, here's why I want to tell you about this. We Korihors feel somewhat responsible. Granted, we didn't make this rock. God didn't make it either. There is no God, and we don't make space rocks. But if this rock is coming towards Earth, well, it is, there's a 93% chance, 93 times out of 100, this bad boy is going to go running right past us and give us a spectacular show as it goes by. We'll probably be able to catch it on our telescopes, almost certainly. The other chance, there's a 4% chance it will strike our moon and knock a bunch of moon rock into our orbit and start wreaking havoc on our satellites, almost certainly. And, well, the jury's out what happens then. But as you can imagine, satellites knocking around in outer space out of their orbit at random intervals, not great for our communications network, let alone how many of them actually wind up falling towards Earth as their orbits decay faster because they've been knocked out of their normal orbit. So, not great, that 4% chance. Now, it's not high, but that is still a non-zero chance. The 3% chance that it is that it will actually strike Earth. And it's still a little early. It's going to be on or near December 22nd, 2032. Now, this suddenly became much more important this last week because that NASA-funded office, the Planetary Defense Coordination Office that I told you about a moment ago, well, that's part of NASA's budget. And last Friday, with neither endorsement nor condemnation from me, President Donald Trump, you may have heard of him, signed a bill on Independence Day into law. They say is a big, beautiful bill. Well, I reserve the right to judge. That cuts NASA's budget by half. And the office that is running Neo Surveyor gets a little extra funding in this new budget. But the program that's actually tracking these near Earth objects actually gets cut in those cuts. In other words, right now, with this rock flying at us about the size of a 10-story building, we apparently have decided that we're going to defund the system that is tracking near Earth objects. Just a little bit. But how much will that affect our ability to track objects like 2024 YR4? Frankly, nobody knows at this point. No one really knows. Now, what can actually be done about it? Well, I don't know if you guys remember the DART missions. Let me see if I can find this while I'm talking about it. Maybe I can get it loaded up over here. But there was a DART mission that, don't quote me on it, was conducted actually in 2022 by NASA as a demonstration that they could actually deflect objects while they are en route to Earth. Now, they chose a target that was not en route to Earth, or at least not in danger with colliding with Earth. And it was an asteroid that was revolving around another asteroid. And so basically, they put together a box about the size of a vending machine and put an engine in it, an ion engine, with two long solar panels. Now, ion engines are pretty interesting. You guys know Star Wars, right? In Star Wars, you have the Empire's fighters. It's starfighters. They're called TIE fighters, right? Well, they're called TIE fighters because they have twin ion engines, or TIE. They have those two solar panels on the side that draw solar energy in and then use solar energy as fuel for propulsion. When Star Wars came out, pretty much most of the Star Wars, the original Star Wars, the good Star Wars, had come out, this was all theoretical. That wasn't, in theory it could be done, but there'd been no practical propulsion system tested in outer space that actually worked yet. It's now been in the last few years, they actually have figured out how to make ion engines, and they work. And the DART mission had one of these on there. So anyways, it's not a twin ion engine, it's an orphan ion engine, but still, it's the same thing. It's an ion engine that builds up speed. Correct me if I'm wrong here. It's I think it's 140,000 miles per hour. That they built up speed with this vending machine sized probe. And they ran it and smacked into this asteroid hard enough to eject some of its material out into space. At the same time, that kinetic energy transferring from this relatively lightweight probe, the kinetic energy of building it up that fast and smacking it into that asteroid was just enough to redistribute its material, redistribute the shape of the asteroid itself, just enough that they were able to confirm over the months following that they had actually managed to slow down the orbit of this object as it orbited around this other asteroid. In theory, that means they were able to change the trajectory of this spaceborne object, of this near-Earth object, by enough of a trajectory that if it were headed towards Earth and you caught it early enough, one of these vending machine probes could technically deter it so that it would miss us entirely, kind of thing. Like, you've heard the old example of like if you switch a train track in Chicago, it winds up in like Seattle instead of San Diego or something like that. That's where this DART mission can go. But the thing is, you have to get it early. Okay, right? It's pretty fast, yeah. And I mean the similar thing. We got 3PO's comment here. Is a good one. They did a similar project around the same time, which was the Osiris Rex, which went to America's Earth's second natural satellite, if you will. Not really a satellite of Earth; it's a satellite of the sun, but it tails along to with Earth close enough that it. Some people call it a second moon. It's really not a moon because it doesn't revolve around Earth, but whatever. We have a tag along. We have a stowaway, and its name is Bennu. It's one of our stowaways, and it's a near Earth object, another asteroid, big hunk of space rock. And the Osiris Rex was a similar probe mission launched to do a glancing blow to do a glancing blow on Osiris Rex and grab some rock off of it as it went by, loop back around to Earth, and land here in Utah. Of all places, they land a lot. They actually land a lot of space objects out here in like the Bonneville area, like I think in the Salt Flats area. So they landed out here in Utah and got like this handful. I think they used a suction device, and they got this handful of material and brought it back to Earth to see what Bennu is made out of. And lo and behold, it's made out of lots of carbon. Not so surprising there. Most abundant element in the universe, or as far as we can tell so far, in the universe. Certainly in our galaxy and all the galaxies that we can see in our nearby, in our near universal neighborhood. Carbon's pretty common, but they were able to show that it had complex carbon compounds, carbon-based compounds that are of the same type as all life on Earth, and all life we know to exist, which is pretty cool. So wherever Bennu came from, whatever Bennu is, it's made of the same stuff as us. It's got lots of the same stuff as us, which is pretty dope. Yeah. Oh, I figured they probably that makes sense. I guess I didn't know that they land material in New Mexico, Jules. But I mean, that does make sense. The question is, are we the only ones landing in New Mexico? This is Jules' thing, you guys. Jules 5T1 include one of her T's is extraterrestrials, and so yeah. Hey Kim, how you doing? So this is the thing, okay? Let's talk about 2024 YR4. I've been talking for a while with some close friends about what do you know about Hubble? I'm going to take this down. What do you know about Hubble? Everybody knows Hubble makes beautiful pictures. We love our Hubble Space Telescope. If you were a geek like me, oh yeah, I saw you on Latter Daily Digest, Jules. You were great. I wish I could have stayed for longer, but my life. And so if you were a space geek like I was in the 90s, you love Hubble. I had a poster of Hubble on my wall when I was a kid. I had it actually on the ceiling, where I was probably supposed to have like a poster of Heather Locklear or something. Probably if it were, it would have been Gillian Anderson, or Princess. But but no, it was. I had Voyager 1 on my wall, and on my ceiling I had Hubble, and I absolutely loved Hubble. Hubble is my geekdom original. I mean, I loved Hubble before I loved Star Wars. And it's just one of the most remarkable things, right? And what I think most people don't realize, first of all, when they launched Hubble, it was originally supposed to go up on the Challenger space shuttle back in the 80s. Well, you saw what happened with the Challenger. If you know, you know. Let's not bring it up now. But then it was looking for a while like it was canceled. Then they brought on a woman I've talked about before, who is known as the mother of Hubble. When it looked like they might get the thing canceled, they might cancel Hubble, which is a spy satellite, by the way. It's a spy telescope that they turned around so that they could look at outer space instead. They eventually got, negotiated with the politicians and bureaucrats until they got a mission approved to go ahead and send Hubble up on a short-term mission. I think it was something like 4 years, and then send the shuttle back up again to capture it back into its cargo bay and then bring it back to Earth. And then, in theory, safely deorbit it so that it could be put up in the Smithsonian would be the ideal, right? Put in the Smithsonian, with like the space capsules and so forth. And then, but they launched it, put it into orbit, and then after a couple of days realized that the edges of the mirror, it's got a silver mirror. You can't send a glass mirror. It's too easy to break, especially in cold temperatures and to fog over and stuff. So they sent a silver mirror. And it's this giant silver mirror, right? But they had ground the edges too flat. And so all of the images that they got from Hubble were coming in a little bit fuzzy, a little bit faded, which sucks. Because it wasn't, relatively, it was a cheap, piece of space equipment compared to, like the Apollo missions, right? But it wasn't cheap, and it wasn't easy to get up there in terms of trying to convince politicians and bureaucrats and the public and the press and the media, you don't know what you're missing out on because we don't have a spaceborne telescope. And so they get this thing up there and it takes fuzzy fucking pictures. It sucks, right? So they had to push through and approve a separate shuttle launch, which these shuttle launches cost around I want to say it's like $1.6 billion a piece. It's not cheap. It's not cheap to send a shuttle to space. So they sent the shuttle back up and got the astronauts to spacewalk over to Hubble and jam pack some hardware, pulling it out, jam pack some more hardware in there, and update some software patches that compensated for the mirror, the shortcomings of the grinding of this mirror. And so that's the reason why we now get big, gorgeous, beautiful pictures from Hubble, and we have long beyond its mission. They extended its service mission so that it would stay up there. They're like, they said we can send up the space shuttle and boost Hubble's orbit a little bit so that its orbit isn't decaying so quickly, and extend it to future missions. By then, the Hubble images had started to come in, and they were gorgeous. They were amazing. They had lots of important information about the universe that NASA and astronomers all over the world could use to explore and discover, okay, here's some interesting things we thought were true or things we didn't realize were true about the universe. So it's got lots of useful scientific information, but more importantly, they were gorgeous and they were huge. And so they got these images out there, and so it was all of a sudden an easy sell to tell Congress, let's not send the shuttle up to collect Hubble, let's send the shuttle up to boost Hubble and send it out there for another extension to its mission. And they did that again, and they did it again, and they did it again. And this, I think it was a 4-year mission, 2 or 4 years, something like that. It was a short mission, has gone on and on and on until now. It's been 30 years that Hubble has been up there in space, getting update after update after update. And then finally, when the space shuttle Columbia I don't know if you remember. Again, let's not dwell on sad stories, but remember Columbia broke up on reentry and all hands were lost during the Bush administration. And George Bush and Congress were like, that's it. We're done. 2 shuttles, but between Challenger and Columbia, no, they're done. So they terminated. Good to see you, Alice. They terminated the space shuttle program, and at the time they had to Congress actually had to push through special clearance to send one last shuttle mission, and that one last shuttle mission was to go to Hubble and install a docking ring on the butt of the Hubble. And the idea was one day in the future, we'll have to send something or someone to go get Hubble and safely deorbit the telescope. Hey, Songs, good to see you. And that was it. That's the whole plan. Put a ring on the butt of the telescope. One day we'll send somebody to go and get it before it deorbits. Now, here's the thing. Currently, we don't know when Hubble's orbit will decay significantly enough that it will strike the upper layers of our atmosphere, going some 175,000 miles an hour? Striking the upper layers of our atmosphere, where it technically is anyways, it's coasted along the edge of our atmosphere. Smack into it, burst into flame, and break apart, sending flaming space debris who knows where. I mean, they can guess roughly where it might strike the atmosphere, but as far as where those parts will land, and especially that big giant ass silver mirror, you got to think of it like Hubble's about the size of a small school bus. So you think that's how big that mirror is. It basically takes up the entire circumference. That's a big giant hunk of silver that once that re-enters into the atmosphere will almost certainly go molten, and it's a big flying molten piece of silver. To say we don't know where that will land, that should scare someone, okay? That should scare you. Even if it landed, like most spaceborne objects that hit orbit, land somewhere in the Pacific Ocean or the Indian Ocean. But I believe. And so, even if it lands in the middle of the ocean somewhere, that's at best going to massively disrupt the ecosystem of marine life out there. There's really no good scenario where Hubble just falls. But it's important to remember that an orbit is falling. It's just falling with style. And Hubble, its orbit is decaying right now. And the date when it's going to hit Earth's atmosphere, and break apart is somewhere between 2028 and 2045. So again, we're in this position where right now we are inching closer and closer and closer to the day where we go, it could be any day now. It could be any day now. Somebody, in just a couple of years, it could happen any day now. It could happen any day now. And that's what we will say. We will say it can happen any day now that Hubble will break apart and our beautiful space observatory will be destroyed in our atmosphere and send hurling pieces of this beautiful, historic piece of scientific equipment, this incredible, world-changing Hubble. It is hard to measure how Hubble changed our world. How many people, great scientists, not just in America, in China, in India, in Canada, in Europe, all over the world, in Africa. There are scientists all over the world who were inspired to get into science because of the Hubble Space Telescope pictures. And now we're just going to let it fall? Believe it or not, that's the plan. Now, SpaceX, a couple of years ago, got a multi-million-dollar contract from the government, because of course it fucking did, saying, you guys got to come up with a plan to deorbit, how you would deorbit Hubble if we gave you the contract. Well, they basically came back with it afterwards and said, we're not really sure, but it would be a thing. I mean, we might do a thing. I mean, they basically had no satisfactory answer for exactly how they would deorbit Hubble. So basically, at this point, the government has no plan. Now, NASA has proposed that the solution is very simple. Some actors at NASA have said that the solution is simple. We'll just boost it again. We'll boost Hubble to high Earth, this time to high Earth orbit, and push and just basically kick the can down the road some 40 or 50 years more. And then somebody else's problem. It pisses me off, guys. This is Hubble. This is our observatory. They already sold the damn thing to the European Space Agency, but neither here nor there. We're still responsible to get it and to make sure that it doesn't destroy, that doesn't hurt people and doesn't just get destroyed. And right now they have no plan. Right now the plan is to let it fall. NASA says, no, let's send another mission up there. We'll send a drone or we'll send something. That will boost it into high Earth orbit. And they don't know exactly what. And they don't know exactly who. And they don't know who's going to pay for it. Because again, like I just mentioned, last week they voted to cut NASA's budget in half. And Donald Trump, they voted for it. In the same bill, they voted to cut food stamps. In spite of the fact, those of you who saw my sermon last Sunday, my very disturbing sermon on Sunday, the United States has set a new record for the number of Americans who die from malnutrition every year from 2018 to 2024, and we are currently on track to break it again in 2025. And they just and it's only been since the last round of cuts to food stamps in 2017 that this has been a thing. we welcome Thomas's doubts. Doubt is good for you. But as these as we get more and more of these crises that come up, we have to address the fact that cutting NASA's budget and cutting NASA's budget and cutting NASA's budget doesn't just deter science, though it certainly does. But you'll never convince these red hats that, that science should be a priority. Never. Though, how much do we all benefit from science in our lives? How much of the science we use right now every day came about because of NASA missions? I am currently downstairs in my house broadcasting over Wi-Fi to the router that's placed in my daughter's room, because that's the nearest place to the window, where it's connected into 5G, and I am broadcasting by 5G wireless using wireless Wi-Fi in my house. Both of those technologies are based on technology that was invented to allow space probes to talk to our network, to our solar system wide network, and now interstellar network, because Voyager is using the same network to communicate with us from beyond the edge of our solar system. All of that, magic, MMV says. Yeah. I mean, all of that came about because of the Gemini missions, the Apollo missions, and the space shuttle program, and space probes, more importantly. All of this we benefit from because our government figured out a small sliver of our budget to spend on developing space exploration that develops tools that all of us use all the time. And now we're allowing for this incredible piece of equipment to fall from the sky, and it could hurt who knows how many people. Currently, there is no plan to deflect this non-zero chance that 2024 YR4 is going to run smack into Earth or is going to run smack into the moon. It's a 7% chance that it will hit either the moon or Earth on December 22nd or thereabouts, 2032. That's coming right up, guys. If somebody's going to do something about this, it can't be 5 years from now. We got to do it now. Okay, because right now there is no proven system to deter a space asteroid. Well, they're all space asteroids, to deter an asteroid's trajectory at the last minute. As far as we know, it's not possible. I mean, well, it's almost certainly possible, but how much energy, how much mass are you going to have to put up there to do something about it, especially with how fast it's moving? Now, we have the technology to do it early, to catch it early. But what do you think the chances are that right now the U.S. federal government is going to expand NASA's budget to say, let's go and knock this one out to eliminate the 3% chance that it will hit Earth, 4% chance that it will hit our moon and cause and wreak havoc in our system and on our planet? I got to tell you, it's not zero, but it's not great. Yeah, that's a good point, Joey, but it's a non-zero chance, right? And you're right. That's because there's so much damn space debris. There's so much space junk right now. If you want a really scary thing, you go online and search space debris accidents in your Google images, and it's haunting. People are just like, here, you see this right here? This is a piece of the Mir space station landed in my field. And look, here it is. Just fell from orbit. Just fell out of the damn sky. And it could hit anywhere. There's so many satellites up there, and so many of them have died. And it's just been kind of like, oh. And the plan to clean it up, there really isn't one. At best, from what I've heard, they're saying, oh, China's space agency, which is a military agency, by the way, that's like their space force. Their military space agency claims that they may take upon themselves to start cleaning up space debris. Well, you know what? That'd be just the perfect cover for, oh, was that a working satellite? Oh, we didn't know. Oh, that was your space drone? Oh, if we'd have only known. It's one step closer to militarized space, which at this point basically is inevitable. But it left me to think, So it cost a little over $500 million to send this DART mission to hit the asteroids, to Deimos, to hit this asteroid with a vending machine-sized object to prove it could be done. But about 300 million of that 500-something million, about 300 million of that was research and development. We don't have to redo that. They've already done it, right? They conducted the whole thing. And because that mission, the DART mission, was not an intelligence or a military operation at all, none of the data about the mission is considered classified. So right down to how to build the probe, where to launch the probe, how to launch the probe, what kind of delivery vehicle you're going to need, how to manage the telemetry, all of that is available to anyone. Anybody can go and get this asteroid and knock it out of the way. I figure we're looking at about $300 million. With operational costs, the more I look into it and try to figure okay, what do I not know about what cost would come up here? It comes out to less than 300 million. And that just makes, I mean, that just really toasts my cookies, man. Because let me tell you something. Some of you will remember a godless sermon I preached back in, what was it, April? March? And about how the Mormon church, just ahead, yeah, because it was in April because of General Conference, just ahead of General Conference, the Mormon church has a subsidiary called Agricultural Reserve Inc. And this organization owns more of America's farmland than any other single entity in the world. Just going to let that sink in. You guys know that in the 1970s, 1980s, one of the major significant leaders of the Mormon church was a guy named Ezra Taft Benson. And Ezra Taft Benson was Secretary of Agriculture in the Eisenhower administration. And basically, his major task, after World War II, he was basically supposed to break up farm unions. Farmers had unions, like people working in factories. The farmers had unions, and his job was basically, for this Republican administration, break up these farmers' unions. And so he went to them. Now, he supposedly had rapport, certainly had more rapport with them, with the farmers' unions, than most of the people in this Republican administration. His job was to go to these farmers' unions and say, quote, "Get big or get out." In other words, while America's farmers and farm unions had sustained America through World War II with enough food to feed our soldiers overseas, but also to keep people fed here in America, and the American food stamp system, which was really created to fight the Dust Bowl, fight the Depression, and has worked, maybe not to everybody's satisfaction, but frankly, it's one of the marvels of the modern world, America's food stamp system. America's food stamps is not charity. Food stamps are not charity. I can't say this enough, okay? Food stamps are not compassion. They're not sympathy. They're not pity. Food stamps are a way for America to keep the entire food supply chain running and keep jobs moving all along the way. I don't know if you remember back in 2010, back when the Tea Party was big, they had the government shutdowns. That was when we really started into this, debt ceiling crisis, government shutdown stuff. I don't want to talk too much politics, but you remember the Nancy Pelosi? Anybody remember Nancy Pelosi? All right, Nancy Pelosi gets up in front of a camera, in front of a microphone, and says, "What Republicans don't know and don't want to acknowledge is that we need jobs in America, and one of the biggest job creators in American history are food stamps. So when you vote to cut food stamps, you vote to cut jobs." And the Republicans laughed at her. Fox News ran that clip over and over and over and over again. Can you believe this crazy psycho woman trying to sell us on that food stamps create jobs? And The Economist came out in one accord, just one side, right, left, and center, to say, "Shut up. Don't talk about shit you don't understand." She's right. Yeah. One of the greatest job creation tools that America has ever had is food stamps. Because food stamps are not just about feeding people. Certainly, that's what makes it easy to sell. The importance of food stamps is that they keep the food supply chain running and all the jobs that go along with it, the transportation jobs, the jobs for oil and energy, the jobs for growing food, packaging food, processing food, distributing food, and of course, cooking and feeding people. Yes, even though you can't use, as far as I'm aware, you can't use food stamps at a restaurant for prepared foods. There's like a difference between like hot prepared foods versus cold packaged foods. Anyway, but even so, the ingredients all rely upon this food chain. This supply chain keeps on running. So when we cut on food stamps. We cut back on seniors. Do I need to talk about this again? Those of you who were here on Sunday know how I pointed out. I won't bring up the data again. It was scary. But, not only do more Americans die since these food stamp cuts in 2017, every year from 2018 till now, and we're currently on pace for more Americans to die from malnutrition this year than last year. And last year was our record. The most number of people who died from malnutrition on record. Granted, during the Dust Bowl, they weren't keeping that kind of records. During the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression, if you'd have said in the government, maybe we should keep better track, like a more accurate tabs on exactly how many Americans die of hunger, that any politician or bureaucrat was likely to look at you and say, what the fuck for? You are one sick puppy, man. Why would you want to know that? Well, now we have that information. I talked about it on Sunday, how the Congress passed a law saying that the Centers for Disease Control have to release up-to-date information regularly through their Wonder system, and I was able to get into that system and hack into it. No, I didn't hack into it. I got ChatGPT to tell me how to fill out the form, because I tell you this, it ain't easy. There was nothing intuitive about this form, but if ChatGPT tells you how to get into it, you can get in there and you can get some really important and useful information. And I was able to see not only how many seniors died of malnutrition in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and all the way up to this month. Not only seniors, but BIPOC people. And once again, boom, 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 records every year, Black and Indigenous people of color. More of them have died in between 2018 and 2025 now. More of us have died from malnutrition than any other year on record. It's a bad precedent to set, okay? Knowing this data, it's only a matter of time, I think. Yeah. It's only a matter of time before, there's been so many anti-science measures since January. I will say it like that and just leave it like that. There have been so many anti-science cuts made, just ordinary government cuts in our government spending since January of this year. It'll be interesting to see how long it is before they start cutting off CDC's Wonder budget and order them to stop updating it. You guys saw what happened with the Epstein files, yesterday? Now they can just do it. They can just make anything happen. There was a court case just this last week that says that basically the Supreme Court determined that if a local jurisdiction, a local court or a state court, determines an action of the administration to be unconstitutional, it's basically only unconstitutional in the jurisdiction of that court. So in other words, if it's against the U.S. Constitution in the state of Colorado, it's only against the U.S. Constitution in the state of Colorado. That doesn't mean it's against the Constitution anywhere else in America. Where normally, if it's declared unconstitutional in any state court, all courts are likely to acknowledge it as, well, they did say that's unconstitutional. So if it's unconstitutional there, it's unconstitutional here. They've got the same constitution we do. And if you want to change that, you're going to have to relitigate it in court out in some other jurisdiction, or more likely appeal it up to the Supreme Court and solve it there. But now it's been flipped on its head. So now they can do a thing, even if it's unconstitutional. And then the people who want to fight it back against it, usually just people paying out of their pockets, lawyers working pro bono, people working around the clock, the very difficult process of suing the administration, of suing the government. They're going to have to fight it in every state in the union, one at a time. That's I mean, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. What can't you do if you have to fight in court to get it declared unconstitutional and fight state by state? If you can't get it up to the Supreme Court, what do you do if the Supreme Court he sees a case and says, "Nah, that sounds like a case to kick down to the lower court. That's not in our jurisdiction. You can kick it back down to the federal courts or to the state courts and fight it out there, and then we'll deal with it at some future time if it gets appealed up." I mean, what do you do about it at that point? There's really very little that can be done, and it's that simple. That's how quick and easy it was. Hey, metal folding chair. That's how quick and easy it was to go from, well, at least we can always sue, we can always fight in the courts to make sure the good thing and that the right thing gets done, to no, you can't. No, you can't. It now has made it virtually impossible. So, meanwhile, I'm looking at this and saying, the Mormon Church spent $300 million to buy one farm this year in Australia. $300 million. That's enough to fund one DART mission to go and get 2024 YR4 and knock it out of the way. And the Mormon Church spent it to buy a farm in Australia, if I'm not mistaken, that grows garbanzo beans. Garbanzo beans. I know one thing about garbanzo beans, and that's that they're chickpeas. You don't know the difference between a garbanzo bean and a chickpea. Said Donald Trump never paid to have a garbanzo bean on his bed in Russia. All right, now, so here's the question. Is it really impossible that the Church of Korihor, our little godless church, could raise as much money as the Mormon Church has raised and used out of its resources to buy a garbanzo bean farm in Australia? I'm going to go ahead and assume this is allegedly, this is an assumption, so that they don't have to pay tariffs, the tariffs that are the consequence of Donald Trump's trade war. I don't know that to be the case, but I don't know it to not be the case either. Is a non-zero chance. What are the chances that the Church of Korihor could raise that kind of money to go and send a DART mission to knock 2024 YR4 off of its trajectory and reduce the non-zero chance that this 10-story building-sized rock, space rock, will hit Earth? Let's reduce that non-zero chance down to zero. Let's knock that shit out of the park. Let's get 2024 YR4. I say we make 2024 YR4 the devil. Korihors have a devil. It's 2024 YR4. We got your fucking number, bitch. We're going to come get you. The Church of Korihor is hot. Hot after 2024 YR4. We're going to knock its ass out of the park. We're going to knock you dead, 2024 YR4. We're not going to destroy you. We're just going to knock you off course. And I don't even know that we necessarily have to hit it with, DART mission style. Maybe we can just change if we get it early, maybe we can just hit it and deliver a glancing blow such as to cause it to spin and use Magnus effect to deter it from its course. Maybe if we just change the rotation of 2024 YR4, we can knock it out of the way. I don't know, because I am a film school dropout. But I can tell you what I do know, is that there are rocket scientists out there who will come on this program. So I say we start a new series here on Hellfire Agency. Oh, yeah. New series. And we're going to call this new series Non-Zero Chance. Right? Right? You guys remember the song? Yeah. Okay. Non-zero chance. Let's start having regular conversation for if the Church of Korihor were to fundraise to launch a rocket and launch a DART mission to go and eliminate the non-zero chance that 2024 YR4 will hit Earth or hit our moon and wreak havoc on our little pale blue dot. What do you think the chances are that we could raise the kind of money that the Mormon Church spent on a garbanzo bean farm in frickin' Australia? I think you're thinking of Coriolis effect there, Joey. I don't know though. Maybe I got that wrong. Like I said, film school dropout. I just read sometimes, and that's a very rare sometimes. But so what are the chances that we could raise that kind of money? Now, I thought, well, we could sell t-shirts. That'd be a lot of t-shirts. The other thing that I thought we could do, let me see if I could load it up. And this is just ideas. At this point, it's early enough we can actually field some pretty wild ideas. I'll just go get it from I have it on my Facebook. Okay. I had this really cool thing. I came up with this idea that we could make methane. I don't know if you guys know about this. Here, I'll just download this again. Skyhopper. We'd have to change this to something else because I realized that this is the name of Luke Skywalker's little speeder that he used to target womp rats in Beggar's Canyon back home. Don't call me not a fan. Don't call me not a fan. Don't do me that injustice. No, don't do yourself that injustice. So I came up with this thing. I asked ChatGPT to come up with a logo for this idea. Okay. And ChatGPT came up with Skyhopper. I just happened to like it. Okay. I said, look, I don't know how many of you know this, but right. Oh, maybe I'm wrong then. That's a good point, Joey. Are you sure about that? Okay, well, maybe you're right. Joey's going to find out. But Skyhopper Breweries is this idea. I don't know how many of you know this, okay? But the main fuel that is used for rocket fuel, my grandfather made rocket fuel for the Minuteman missile. I didn't know that until I was 16 years old, okay? So back in 1996, he had already passed on. And my dad told me, he's like, your grandpa wasn't a farmer, right? I was like, what? And he's like, your grandpa wasn't a farmer. Yes, he grew alfalfa at night in our little family homestead in Lewiston, Utah. He said, yes, he grew alfalfa at night, but he had a day job too. And his day job, he ran a testing facility. Hey, Megan, I hope you're safe out there. Did you have a successful day out there? And Megan's been out there cleaning up. I mentioned to you guys earlier, Megan's been out there cleaning up in Kerr, Texas, in Kerr County, cleaning up on that flood damage. And my grandpa used to work for a company out here. He's dead. And this is I don't know if this is officially declassified, but if it isn't, it should be. My grandpa worked for a company called Morton Thiokol. And they made this tape with this adhesive that was groundbreaking. And it eventually led to the idea that you could actually create rocket fuel that was solid and wouldn't basically denature enough that it would become inert. And so, but basically they were testing out here in Utah, where there was nice big open flat areas, dry open flat areas, to test this solid rocket fuel for the Minuteman missiles. And what they wound up doing with it instead, I mean, they did put it in the Minuteman, I believe the Minuteman 3, but eventually we had plenty enough missiles. And so they started strapping those missiles onto the sides of a big liquid rocket fuel or kerosene tank to launch as stages to launch the space shuttle. And so my grandpa made the fuel to launch the space shuttles. It was pretty dope. By the way, that's not the fuel that destroyed the Challenger. What really, but the company that bought Morton Thaddeus, it was kind of their fault that the Challenger mission happened. And it's just kind of a freak accident too. Basically, there was like a gasket that froze and then cracked, and that basically caused caused a rupture in the fuel tank as the rocket was taking off. And that was it. It was a gasket that caused that whole disaster. Anyway, but these days, pretty much every space delivery platform, every rocket out there, whether you're talking Tesla, you're talking about the Delta rockets, you're talking about NASA's space delivery something system that it uses. You're talking about the Russian rockets. You're talking any rocket you're talking about, pretty much anything that goes to space actually goes to space on a combination of oxygen and methane, which is natural gas. Well, natural gas is methane. That's important. I think that's probably the better way of saying it. And you can get methane or liquefied natural gas, especially. You can get that from a variety of different sources. Vladimir Putin, not unimportantly, sells it. Sells a lot of it, and especially to China. You can get it from a variety of sources, but almost all of them involve fracking, the ones that are commercially available now. But you can also get methane from a variety of different sources. You can get it from landfills. You can get it from garbage from a process called gasification. Gasification was a pretty remarkable technology until it was realized that it basically takes so much energy to take our garbage and break it down to where it can be gasified, basically meaning that they pressurize it, they put it in a pressurized tank, and they heat it up to the point where it's, the oxygen and methane and hydrogen all break apart in our garbage, especially any garbage that has plastic in it. Well, how much of our garbage has plastic in it? A lot. That's a lot of carbon. And you can take that carbon, you strip it off and put it in put it into an environment where these hydrogen molecules are. You got carbon with hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. What do you got? Methane. Okay. So basically you can convert, our cities could run on our garbage. It just turns out that the process of pelletizing the garbage consumes so much energy, and then storing it, it's so inefficient a process that turns out it's not practical. The other side, though, is you can take anything that is organic, chemically organic, not grocery store organic, chemically organic, which means it's what? Based in carbon. Anything that is rich in carbon, and you add algae into that environment, and you take you take specialized algae that is grown just for this purpose. This algae, as it goes consuming the material, it basically farts out. Be quite blunt with you. It basically farts out methane. And it produces methane you can produce it in huge quantities. Now, one thing that's a pretty revolutionary technology that most cities don't take advantage of, but some cities, there's technology to use this algae process to convert organic material into methane that you can actually build for a municipality, sell it to the municipality and say, how would you like to be able to have a facility? We'll put up the money, we'll put up the construction, that will take that your organic waste. When you say organic waste, what are we talking about? It could be a variety of things, but the easiest thing is poop. We will build you a water treatment facility that collects your sewage. Put algae into cultivate algae and put algae into that treatment facility. Extract methane, take that methane and give it to your power plants. Now, every time people poop, you're feeding electricity into the grid. Gross, but remarkable. It could be done. And then you would never have to frack to get methane ever again. Why don't they do it? Well, you know why. So, the other thing that you can do, another very common material, a good, rich organic material to create methane using algae, is the slough off of the bottom of fermenters. When you ferment beer, when you ferment wheat or hops, more commonly hops. Hey, Gene. When you ferment hops to make beer, the sludge that gets cleaned out and thrown away, oftentimes, is given, from what I understand, makes great fertilizer. Not surprisingly, you can actually add algae into that and create methane. So I came up with this idea, and it's a wild one. Suppose we were to create a network, create a mission of the Church of Korihor that creates a network of microbreweries across the country under the Skyhopper Breweries brand. And then we make it economically viable by saying, look, we will promote Skyhopper beer and tell people, and create a marketing campaign to say, when you drink Skyhopper beer instead of whatever beer you normally drink, my grandpa would have loved this idea. No, he wouldn't. He'd have hated it. My grandpa would have thought this was the worst rocket fuel idea ever. We will take all of the sludge from the bottom of your fermenters, send it over to us. You can ship it to us, to our facility, to the church's facility, centralized facility somewhere. And we will add algae to it and produce methane with it. In return, we will pay and we will produce a series of marketing ads to promote to people to buy Skyhopper beer, because it's funding this operation where we are selling methane, clean methane, to rocket companies to become rocket fuel made from that beer. And the beer you're drinking, the beer you're holding in your hand, has contributed to making rocket fuel, has produced rocket fuel. And so imagine how cool a thing that would be. And then we tell them, and part of that money we raise from producing rocket fuel produced by your beer purchase, part of that money, all of that money will wind up going to a mission to knock 2024 YR4 off course and save the world. 3% chance. But 3% chance is a non-zero chance. They're still calling it a non-zero chance. So I came up with this idea. I originally came up with the idea to fund a mission to save Hubble, but the more I look into that, the more I realize I don't think I realized how difficult that actually is. So let's talk about that later. But right now, I think that this DART mission, the idea of funding this DART mission, is totally viable. What are the chances that we would sell enough beer and make enough rocket fuel to be able and generate enough and raise enough funds to knock 2024 YR4 off trajectory before it hits us in 2032? 3% chance, or 4% chance hits the moon. It's not great. What are the chances that our little church for atheists could save the world? It's not great. But it's not zero. It's a non-zero chance. I say we talk about it. At least let's spend the next year bringing on some rocket scientists, bring on some economists, bring on some people who have expertise in this subject, and just talk about it. Who knows what we don't know? I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. But I bet you we could find somebody. I bet you there, I bet my bucket. I bet you the last bucket I have to piss in, I can find somebody who worked for Tesla and or for SpaceX, for Tesla Space, who is willing to come on this program and talk. I know for a fact I know people who work for Rocket Aerodyne or who work for Boeing who would love a chance to talk about this kind of thing. I've known people who work at Northrop Grumman who would be happy to talk about this mission as long as we weren't talking about anything classified that they were working on at work. And I think it would be just radical. Also, let's get some people in here who are specialists in fundraising for crisis situations and say, what is the key to finding people who have the money already and can just open up their wallet and do it? Because here's the thing. Somebody correct me on this. Isn't Richard Branson an atheist? Okay. I don't like the idea of going to billionaires on bended knee, hat in hand, asking for money. But I ain't too proud to do it. I'll go to Elon Musk and ask for the money. I'll go to Donald Trump and ask him for the money. I'm not too proud to beg if I can get it. But we can't just let this thing happen. We can't just let this 3% chance become 100%. We can't, we can't wait for the government to decide, for gods and governments to decide it matters to us whether or not a rock the size of a 10-story building just smacks into Earth. We don't have that kind of time. We ain't got time to fuck around, you guys. And all I'm saying is this, like I said in my Sunday sermon. It's a good point, Joey. You know what, though? Let's talk about attached strings. I mean, here's what I'm looking at, okay? Dear Richard Branson, somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows Richard Branson. That's all of you. At the very least, somebody get it to Kevin Bacon, because Richard Branson, he's got to be like 1 degree from Kevin Bacon. If you get this to Richard Branson, get him this clip. Sir Richard, you are an atheist, I believe, yes? Me too. Joe Rollins, first herald of the Church of Korihor, Church for Godless People. Bet you didn't know we were here. Hey, do you know, Sir Richard, that there is a rock the size of a 10 fucking story building hurtling towards Earth that has a non-zero chance of hitting us? Sir Richard, I don't like billionaires. I don't like them. I don't like you. But you could change my mind. And furthermore, beat Elon Musk at something. Right? NASA was able to prove that a rock like this one can be deflected from its course with a DART-style mission. We have all the blueprints. We have everything we need to make it happen, except for the money, Sir Richard. Help us out, brother. Save the world. Earn fame and reclaim, if that's your thing, if that's what you want, forever. But more importantly, let's beat Elon at something. Let's beat Elon. Now someone get this clip out there. Hey, Elon, How's it going? You're autistic like me, right? That's cool. Wish you weren't a dick. So, you got a company that's got rockets. Let's go and knock this space rock off course. It's got a non-zero chance of hitting us. Let's not let that happen. You probably will say no because you're a jerk. And I hope you trip and fall and bang your shin. There, I said it. You know what? I don't want your help. Screw it. I've already got Richard Branson. Richard Branson's going to do it for me. So, never mind. Oh, I didn't know that. Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic is in New Mexico. I didn't know that. That's dope. Richard Branson, let's do this thing, baby. Let's go. Does anybody know if Richard Branson actually is an atheist? I don't actually know that. Look at Bill Gates. I don't care. I'll go down Epstein's list and get all the people on Epstein's list who need to recover their image and say, yes, he did that with his boy Jeffy. But so have other people who are in positions of influence. Not looking at anyone. Not looking at anyone. Not looking at anyone. But you know what? Bill Gates, he helped us. He helped us save the world. He's all right in my book. I mean, he did some bad things there, but he's all right in my book if he helps us to save the world. Either that, or we'll just we'll drink a whole bunch of beer. What's wrong with this plan? Because I was thinking about it, and I was like, it really is a matter of economies of scale, right? It's like, how much beer would you have to sell to produce how much methane to produce enough revenue to finance the operation? You could almost get the microbreweries to sign up in the network to send us their organic material as part of the program, but keep the profits. We don't need the profits from the actual sale of the beer. They can keep the profits. That way you keep it economically viable because this network of microbrewers can just make the beer and sell it. We could get more people. We could get people to Church of Korihor. I'll get a microbrewery kit and start brewing beer if it will save the fucking world. Why not? That's what I say. Now I've been yakking at you guys. I've been yakking your ear off for over an hour. At the very least, we got a cool new hymn out of it. You guys like that? And a cool poster. Guys, check this poster out. I posted this earlier. I posted this on my Facebook. You guys know my Facebook is it's a minefield. It's a minefield. People who know my Facebook, if you know, you know. It's it is what it is. I have problems. But okay, so I have this poster. Here we go. I originally conceived of this idea as like as a documentary and said we'll go to like Sundance and stuff. Well, Sundance is now moving to Wyoming. I think they're still going to call it Sundance though. Aren't they moving to Wyoming or Montana? I didn't pay close enough attention. And I said, let's make a documentary. This picture is big. It's like it's like big enough to print as like a poster. And I thought we could take those three circles of the people's faces. We could actually cut those out and we could set it up so that people could take pictures with it, just like poke their heads into it and pose with me. And we'll call it Non-Zero Chance. And it'll be this documentary about how this little church for atheists that nobody's ever heard of has announced that they're trying to save the world, that we're trying to launch a rocket to save the damn world, and we're probably going to fail. And we're still trying. We're going to try it because the government gave up. You guys, our government's given up. They're just going to let the thing fall on us. It's the same with Hubble. They're just going to let the damn thing fall. This is the world we're living in. What in a world where we can't trust the government to do the right thing, not that we ever could, But if we couldn't, in a world where we definitely now cannot trust the government to do the right thing, and there are no gods to do the right thing, who steps up to do the right thing? Atheists. That's who. Godless people, agnostic people. We're the ones who are going to step up and get the damn thing done, especially if it requires science, because we have the best scientists. Why can't we? I mean, someone tell me exactly why we can't. Right? Joey, that's good data. That's exactly right. Yeah. It's a 4.3% chance that it will strike the moon, which could, we don't know exactly how it will strike the moon, but potentially it could knock a bunch of moon rock loose. That's at least what I read. And if it knocks a bunch of moon rock loose, it'll knock it into our orbit, and or it could mar some potential landing sites for future moon missions. But it's a non-zero chance. It's also a 3% chance it'll hit Earth. Let's do it. So that's what I'm at. That's what I'm at. I say we go out there. I say we go out there to save the world. Now, I thought, we'll make a documentary. I'll record a few interviews with some people, put it together, go to do the film festival circuit, because I've always wanted to do that. I always came like this close, this close to the film festival circuit with different independent films I worked on over the course of my 30 years of not making movies. I came like this close every time, and then we get like halfway there, and the whole project loses funding. And once again, we all, everybody points fingers at each other. We all shout curse words. People sue each other over the damn movie. And then we lose a bunch of friends and everybody goes home. And that's unfortunately the way indie films usually are. It sucks, actually. Once I actually accepted that I had failed in the film, in the indie film world, it hurt for years, guys. I mean, it still hurts a little, but it's not that bad now. There came to be that's interesting, Jules. I think I know people who worked on that movie. But the where was I saying? Anyways, the film festival circuit is a nightmare. It's a nightmare, and it's extremely difficult to get anything produced. Now that AI film, I know there's a lot of people out there who have very bad feelings about artificial intelligence generated film. That's fine. People are welcome to film. But this actually has the potential to democratize film production in a way nothing else ever did. And you think about it, documentaries, they have real potential to make change. Now I feel like I'm back. Shit, man. I feel like I'm back in it. When I accepted, this is what I was saying, when I accepted that I had failed in the film business, I came to realize how many friends I had lost along the way. And it sucked. I went and I looked at them like, I made these great friendships over the years. And I really, like, people I met in film school and people I met working on like stupid, crappy indie films. Arizona's independent film world is like chock full of crap, man. Like the worst movies that you have to, oh God, yeah, look at you. Yeah, that's amazing. My buddy I've talked about before, Paul Hudson, he made this movie. He got brought on to this movie that was about Mormon polygamists. And he got signed on. He tried to get me a job with them. And then I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's like made for me. I definitely would like to do it. This was back when Big Love was all the rage. And so people were still, that was like the hot thing, was big, big love takeaways. And it was when Warren Jeffs was like at large, was when they were shooting it, I think. And he's like, hey, I want to get you on set. Come on over. I got you special permission to come and sit in on set, so I can introduce you to the other producers. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll stop by for a minute. I mean, I already made my offers. Like, yeah, I'll edit I can come on board as an editor, or I can come on board as a producer. And I'd be interested in reading the script. I'd be interested in knowing more about it. More importantly, I'd be interested in knowing how much does it pay, because frankly, I know how these films have a tendency to not get finished, not get made. And all the guys who are told, oh, you'll get paid when the movie goes to distribution, get left holding the bag. I'm like, look, I'm not here to work pro bono. I got a family to feed. So if you got paid positions, I'm interested, especially if it's in compositing, editing, any kind of aspect of music production, or any element of actual principal photography or second unit. And so I'm like, in which case I'm in, let me know. I just want to see the script and so forth. So he's like, yeah, well, why don't you come out to the set? So when we pitch this to these guys and I say, look, you should hire my boy Joe, they remember your face and know who you are. It's like, that makes sense. So I stopped by and I sat in, and they were shooting in a church. No, they're shooting in an old courthouse. No, how had it gone? No, it was a church. They were shooting in a church, and they had taken one of these side chapels, and this Mormon prophet gets up and starts preaching from the pulpit. And I'm like sitting there watching it, and right behind him, framed right into the shot, is a giant cross. I looked at Paul, and he looks at me, and he's like, oh shit, these people don't know anything about Mormons, do they? I'm like, they don't. And sure enough, nobody involved in the production team was Mormon or ex-Mormon. And none of them had done any research on Mormonism. And none of them had any exposure to Mormon polygamy whatsoever. I was like, I said, you know what? Maybe I don't know enough about polygamy. There may be Mormon polygamists who wear crosses, but I have known a few Mormon polygamists in my time, and all the ones I know are as opposed to crosses as Mormons are. This is this old, like, Presbyterian theme, as far as I know, from a certain time period, from the 19th century, that says crosses are just, they're fine, but it's just a reminder of the fact that Jesus died, and everybody's supposed to be focused on that Jesus is alive, Jesus is risen. And so a lot of Christians, including a lot of Mormons, not all, certainly far and away not all, back in the 1800s, didn't wear crosses and didn't like having crosses around. And it wasn't like a rule, it wasn't like a hard and fast rule until, from what I understand, David O. McKay. So, pretty recently, in all things said and done, Ted Bundy years anyway. And so, and I was like, but for a Mormon church to have a cross behind the pulpit? No. Yeah. Yeah. People have mentioned that, Joey. And all things, and truth be told, sometimes I pitch my head so that to emphasize it. Why not? You guys know I get like one person usually who comments on some of my videos once in a while, specifically to say that they like the Godless sermons, but the fact that I have referred to myself on other people's programs as an Antichrist, or maybe the Antichrist, they have decided that they don't want to support me. And so they downvote my videos. Watch the whole thing, but downvote it. And I say, yeah, all right, whatever. There's always going to be somebody, Cardinals probably send somebody to downvote most of my videos anyway. So, anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed our little live. I know it's not as well prepared as some of my other things, especially the Godless sermons, but I really wanted to go live today to tell you guys about this. Don't hold me to it in case it doesn't turn out. But hey, it's good to see you, Jules. Thanks for being in here, and thanks for the good info. I always get such great information from you guys. But on Friday, it's looking at 8 p.m. So put this on your calendars. We're going live again. And this time, we're reacting to Ward Radio's newest misogyny video. But my guests are going to be the hosts of Two No-Mos Walk Into a Bar. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been watching this, but so basically, Kate and Erica are one an ex-Mormon, one a never Mormon from here in Utah, who were kind of frenemies for a while. And then when it's Kate, I believe, right, left the church, that's when they became friends and started to just talk crap, get together, drink, and talk about crap. I think they really don't even drink like alcohol. I'm not sure if they do or not, but I think sometimes they do. Mostly they drink coffee, but they just get together and talk crap about how wild Utah Mormonism is. And it's a pretty good show. It's a pretty good time. And so I'm going to right now the plan is that we are going to have them on at 8 p.m. to just react to clips from this Ward Radio, and it should prove to be quite the riot because they're really fun. So I'm excited about it. In the future, though, I am planning to try and get some people on to have some episodes of a new series. We'll see how far we go with it, but a new series, and we'll call it Non-Zero Chance. Also, I'm already 3 episodes deep. 3 episodes deep into posting on korahor.org the full uncut episodes, reposting my episodes about from Blood Atonement, which is my series about murder among the Mormons, and particularly conversations that I've had about Ted Bundy during his years. All of that now is on korahor.org. Hellfire Agency is still active, but it doesn't go to a separate website. Now it just goes to korahor.org. And contributors are the ones who will be able to actually watch. I have more contributors now who have signed up just to watch, signed up to the Church of Korahor so that they can watch Hellfire Agency than I ever did as Hellfire Agency. And so I'm ecstatic about that. For $2 a month, you get access to all of Hellfire Agency, at least so far. Hopefully we don't have to increase that. But then, of course, you can also purchase merchandise, and you can make donations at the website. And donations are now tax deductible because Hellfire Agency is a mission of the Church of Korahor. So I'm loving it. This is really fun, you guys. I think that so we got Blood Atonement, and I'll be producing more episodes of that. I've been talking to some of our friends, including not only Heidi, my friend from the Unfiltered Rise podcast, but also I've been appearing a couple times on Beth Magnetic's program. She's kind of like revamping Mormon true crime in this new brand, which is Death by Patriarchy, which is awesome. And we've been talking about collaborating on future projects where Beth will come on and potentially also come back and preach more godless sermons for us, which I am ecstatic about. I don't know if you guys remember, Beth was one of our earliest godless sermons guests, and she did this great sermon about healing our relationship with money, healing, Christians, ex-evangelicals, and ex-Mormons, relationship with money. And I got a lot out of it. And I think we can get a lot more with her. And like I said then, I say now, one of the most surprising things for me, because I didn't think I would find people this quickly. One of the most remarkable things in the Church of Korihor since I started it is how many women have risen to the occasion. Whether we're talking about Jules, we're talking about Jenny, we're talking about my dear chosen family and flesh and blood sister Nikki, and of course we're talking even about Beth, who is not officially affiliated with the Church of Korihor really at all as of now, but steps up to help us on a lot of stuff. And it's like women, come out to help, and that's nowhere near a complete and full list of the incredible women. Lisa has been out here helping us with things. Got Songs has been out here helping us to build it and engaging here on the channel. I mean, we have, the Church of Korihor brings the most incredible women into our orbit, and it's just the most amazing thing for me. I don't think I've ever been this closely associated with so many women in all my life. So it's like, it's great for me. I really love it because women show me how to be a better person. Oftentimes it turns out I learn more from them than I do from anyone else. So I love it. And at the very least, if we got nothing else out of Non-Zero Chance, we got this cool new hymn. I hope you guys love it. I'm going to post it here as soon as we're done. Until next time, my friends, flash bright.
From empty pews to reasoned thought, we'll defend our pale blue dot. If the danger's great, but the odds are small, we Korihors will heed the call.